You good?
All right. Shalom. We want to say shalom to the hopeful elect. All praises and glory to Yahweh.
I will Ba'ashem,
Yahushua,
Ba'ashem, Kafadash.
Double honors to our apostle elders, which rule Great Millstone Well, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure into the end. Shalom wa abba. All right. We're just going to go into why we suffer. All right. And the Lord makes everything clear so that we could understand. And he told us to not only get knowledge, but to get understanding of why these things happen. And go ahead and grab that Psalms 9, you call. And then if one of you brothers could hold Sirach 2, and I'm going to walk verses 1 and 5.
Got it.
And then I'm going to need Revelation 3 with 10 and 13. 10 through 13. And then we'll move on from there. But if you brothers got any precepts on it.
You said Psalms 99?
Yeah.
I thought I had it on one of these here, but it's not.
And this is just going in because, the spirit that we're going to be persecuted in these last days when they bring out that implantable device that they're going to make mandatory for buying and selling. And we have to be able to possess our souls so that we could endure this hardship that is coming upon the world. We're going to be protected on a higher level than everybody else, but we also have duty of making sure we crossed our dots or crossed our T's and dot our I's.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 9, verse 9. The Lord Yahweh also will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble.
Right. So Yahweh and Yahweh Shai is our example. Grab that 2 Corinthians 14 also you had on home. Chapter 4. But Yahweh Shai, when Yahweh was in trouble, he would run to Yahweh. Like in the time right before he was crucified, he went into the garden of Gethsemane. I believe that's how you say it. And which means oil press. And he was praying to the Father Yahweh. So he was running to the Father in the time of trouble. All right. And that's one of our tools is to pray and fast. All right, go ahead.
You want to start at 5?
Verse 4, 5.
This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 5. For we preach not ourselves, but Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, the Lord our power, and ourselves your servants for Yahweh Shai's sake.
Right, so we're on this earth not to be served, but to serve. And what are we serving you? The knowledge of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. That's why we give double honors to our apostle elders, which introduced us to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right, so we're not here to magnify ourselves. We're here to edify, fortify, and do all we can so that all the brothers are prepared for this dark time. Go ahead.
For power, who had commanded the light to shine out of the darkness, has shined in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of power in the face of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach.
Right, when he returns, we'll be actually the righteous on the earth. Go ahead.
But we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of Yahweh Shai and not of us.
Right. So we're earthly men so that we can't glorify ourselves. We shit like everybody else. We sweat. Right. We all have these physical bodies that are corrupted. So we can't glorify ourselves. Right. So this is intentional by Yahweh's power that we are in these mortal bodies to glorify Yahweh Shai. It's on purpose. It's not a mistake. The Christians try to say that there was 2 angels fighting in heaven and they split the kingdom in half and Satan came down here. That's all bullshit. It's all created by design. All right. Now there is spiritual warfare, but it's not what the Christians are telling you in the churches. All right. But we are immortal bodies by design. Go ahead.
We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair.
Now get that word perplexed in the interlinear. Yeah. The word perplexed there.
Where is that? Over here, okay.
And then read the outline biblical usage.
Outline.
Of that word perplexed.
Let's see. Perplexed.
Yeah.
This one says G639.
Yeah, and just give me the outline biblical usage.
Okay, the biblical online usage is number one, to be without resources.
Right. So be without resources. All the brothers suffer poverty. We are the poor. We don't have the resources sometimes that we desire or even sometimes need because we're in suffering, just like our Messiah Yahushua. He even said he didn't have a house to call his own, pretty much, is to lay his head, even though foxes have dens, because he was actually suffering to show who he was, so that the Lord Yahweh, the supreme power, could glorify him through his power, which he was doing miracles. He was walking on water, he was healing, he was raising the dead, but he would have been considered a poor man, even though he was actually wealthy, even at the time of his existence, his family. When you go into his birth in chapter 2, it tells you that Herod and Jerusalem were troubled by the wise men. When you go into that and see what the scholars say, they said it would have been such a group of men, such a huge group of men that came, that it put fear in Herod's heart about this baby being born. See, so Yahushua is a heavy hitter, but he was living a humiliated life doing this work, just like us. We're literally living the life of Yahushua today in 2023, doing this work. We're suffering the lack of resource. Go ahead.
To be in straits,
difficult times, right? Whether it's, financial, physical, relationship, whatever it is, we're having problems in this world, in this flesh. Go ahead.
To be left wanting, to be embarrassed,
which we want righteousness. We hunger and thirst for righteousness. To be embarrassed, which that's humiliation, which goes back to humility. Go ahead.
To be left. Oh wait, Shaka. To be in doubt.
To be in doubt. We're wondering if we are the elect, right? That's part of this flesh, right? Because it tells you the spirit is willing. The spirit knows who the elect are. They're gonna do what the elect do. But in this flesh, even the elect are wondering, hey, is it me? Am I an elect? But it's going to be proven in that time of trouble. Go ahead.
Not to know which way to turn.
Right, not to know which way to turn. Right? But we walk by faith. Now go back to the 13, read to 13.
Okay.
And then we'll jump to Halakia. And if you brothers got any precepts, let me know.
Or 2 Corinthians.
Yeah.
I got. Does he have one?
Go ahead. And I'll get.
Go ahead and read
Okay.
through.
Go ahead, you call. I'll wait for you, bro.
Okay. We left off on
8.
I'll start at 8. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair.
Right.
Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed.
Right.
Always bearing about in the body the dying of our Lord Yahushua, that the life also of Yahushua might be made manifest in our body.
Which that's what we're doing. We're suffering in this flesh, but we're choosing the Father Yahweh. We're not choosing drugs to make money. We're not choosing the gun to go rob. We're not choosing the pimp and hose. We're not choosing any of these. We're not going to, Lord willing, we don't choose the chip. We're choosing Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, just like Yahushai. We're living Yahushai's life. We're little Yahushai's, literally. And the elect, Lord willing, we're in that number. We're living that life, which we're going to get the crown that Yahushai actually got. But he's on a higher level. That's why he's taller. But we're going to get that same penny, right? A crown of life, if we suffer and we endure our suffering with knowledge and understanding of what's going on. Go ahead.
Verse 11, for we which live are always delivered unto death for Yahushua.
Right, being born to peradventure. We're in danger. You're alive in this flesh. We're in danger. We're not saved like the Christians tell you, but the elect will be saved. All right, go ahead.
For Yahushua sake, that the life also of Yahushua might be made manifest in our mortal flesh.
Our mortal flesh, which is, once again, we're living that life. Go ahead.
So then death worketh in us, but life in you.
Right? Because what are we doing? We're teaching, and that's why it says that we're even peacemakers. When we tell other Israelites that are suffering, like we had that Jake, which I believe he's a Jake, that one that came up with that clown tattoo on his face. You know, only Mexicans do that shit. I was like, that's a Mexican right there. You know what I mean? That, you know, when they get into the gangs, they'll put clown features on their face through tattoos. But he looked like a so-called white man. But when we told him that he was an Israelite, he understood to a point, but then he wanted to reject it because it's not for him. It's not for all Israel. They'll suffer for drugs, they'll suffer for women, they'll suffer for money. But when you tell them to suffer in this truth, they ain't about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not for everybody, but everybody's called, but only a few are chosen. Go ahead.
Con. We have in the same spirit of faith, according as it is written, I believe, and therefore have I spoken. We also believe, and therefore speak.
Right. So there you go. You can stop there. This is why we speak, because we believe. All right. We believe in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And that's why we're trying to do these videos to edify, so that we can build up our brethren so they might be saved, that we might be saved. Right? Because we're still hoping to be saved. We're still in danger in the mortal flesh. Go ahead, Shabai.
Ron, this is Hebrews, and I got 5 through verse 8.
Go ahead.
It says, Hebrews 12:5, and ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto sons. My son, despise not the chastening of Yahweh, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him.
Right, and rebuke, you feel like you're pushed away, like you're being rejected. That's what that word rebuke means. It means like you feel like you're not wanted or you're not part of it. There's a movie called Fight Club. And remember when he initiates who's going to join his club, there's a part where he says, you got to stand outside for like so many days. And they're like, you piece of shit, you're not worthy. Don't come in. Blah, 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 blah. But really, they're testing them to see if they have the endurance to be part of the club. That's what the Lord's doing for us. If we endure, even though we look like fools sometimes, the Lord's going to welcome us into his kingdom, and we're going to be glorified with Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai. But we have to endure this little bullshit that we go through every day in these mortal bodies. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 6, for whom Yahweh loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. If ye endure chastening, the Most High dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? But if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are ye bastards and not sons.
And that's what happened to the 2/3. They're considered bastards now because they don't want to deal with that chastisement. They don't want to suffer for the Lord, but they want to suffer for their job. They want to suffer once again for every worldly thing. They're going to perish as a bastard, as a heathen, as an Edomite. They're going to burn in that lake of fire because they don't want to suffer. They're suffering anyway. That's what's so stupid about it, that they're so hard-headed, stiff-necked. They rather suffer for the world than for the Lord, which we're going to get a great reward for our suffering. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Go ahead, Halaki.
All right. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation.
Right.
Said thou
for the temptation, which we're actually being tempted every day, building us up for that hour of temptation. Go ahead, brother.
Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. And just like the example you made with the Fight Club, that whole initiation shit was just to see who was gonna fall out. When it got too hard, when you did you have the endurance to continue on? That's what the Most High doing. And guess what? It's called how should I say? It's like a pruning process. You see,
Sifting.
Sifting, pruning, to get what? To get rid of the dross, man. To get rid of those who are not worthy, who don't have it.
Yep. And remember when they did get accepted, They all had to be one. They wore the same clothes. They shaved their head the same because they were becoming one body. And we don't have to,
Yep.
have that same look, but we're on the same doctrine.
God. Verse 3 said, should I read 3? Sirach 2 and 3, it says, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state.
Right. So how you can take it cheerfully unless you understand what's happening? Just like the apostles, when they were beat, they rejoiced because they understood there was a reward for that beating. That was part of the initiation of them being with Yahushua. Yahushua was beaten. See? And then up to 5.
Verse 5, it says, for gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity.
Right. What is adversity? Satan, the enemy, your the so-called white man. The reason you lack resources is because he makes it where we're the minority, we're the lower class. We're supposed to already be back in our promised land, but this devil don't want to let us go. Yeah, we sinned and we suffered our punishment of being enslaved all these generations, but now this devil don't want to let us go. We're standing upon our feet. We know who we are. We're calling upon Yahweh Hashem Yosef, but he don't want to let us go. So, that adversity is coming from your enemy, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, the physical manifestation of Satan. All right?
Let me get the next verse. Verse 6, it says, believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him.
Right? And I love that part, because it says, order your way aright. Do everything you can to do what's right. But then you got to trust on the Lord. If you're in business or if you're in whatever you're dealing with in your everyday life, you're not trying to rob nobody. You're not trying to take advantage of nobody or nothing. But do what you got to do to the best of your ability, and then trust on him. And whatever happens, if you get money, you know what to do with it. The Lord tells us what to do with it. It's a defense, right? And you build up your brothers if need be, right? Putting in the tithes and all that. But if you don't got money, the same. You don't change because you're broke or because you've got money. The doctrine does not change. You see? Get Revelation 3. Which one you brothers got it?
Do you have that Revelation 3? Oh,
no.
Revelation 3.
And then
and what verse 10?
Sirach 27 too. And chapter 27 verse 5.
All right. I'm already there, so.
Revelation 3 and 10?
Yeah.
So this is the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 10. And it reads, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth.
Right. So this temptation is talking about the implantable microchip, and it's going to come upon the whole world to test them. Who's bringing it? Of course, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, but he gave it to the so-called white man, the red devil. All right, just like he gave him the power to create a nuclear bomb, which they got that movie Oppenheimer that came out, and it's that fulfills that what is it, Isaiah 54 verse 16, that he created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire. The Lord created this devil, and his purpose is to destroy. So he's gonna mark you. I was watching a documentary on Oppenheimer last night, actually, and they said that when they did that Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they were experiments. They were experiments on what devastation with those atomic, which are nuclear weapons, would do. And they actually dialed it in, they said, to where they would do the most destruction. And then after, they went in and measured the burns, they measured the people's pain. That's the devil. And he's going to mark you with the device, which is an abomination, to implant you, right, with that device. And that's going to mark you for nuclear destruction. Just like he did to Japan with that atomic bomb. He's going to do it.
And you brought up You
Go ahead.
brought up Isaiah 54:17 and how he creates the waster.
Yes.
That verse always reminds me of that German, so-called German, which would be the wise men of Esau, Timan, that engineer whose name was Abraham Esau,
Yeah. But
Which-
they got that movie with Oppenheimer, and it stuck out to me because the apostles, they've been talking about the Oppenheimers. He was all, everybody talks about the Rothschilds, but what about the Oppenheimers? And now they got that movie coming up. But yeah, that one too. All of them, bro. Really, it was a group of Edomites that the Lord was dealing with through, Yahweh Shem Yashai. They dealt with them through Satan, and they gave him the ability to make nuclear weapons.
going back to their blessing.
Right. Go ahead, Ak.
Says verse 11, behold, I come quickly, hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown.
Right.
Him-
Let no man take thy crown. Right. Don't get bitter in this truth. Rejoice that you're serving the Lord in these last days. Don't get bitter now. This is the time to rejoice in your suffering. All right. The only way you're going to get bitter is not understanding why you're suffering. The reason we're suffering is because we're living the life of Yahweh Shai and we're glorifying Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai in our life. Go ahead, Ak.
It says verse 12, him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my power, and he shall go no more out, and I will write upon him the name of my power, and the name of the city of my power, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my power, and I will write upon him my new name.
Right. So this is a dead serious game. Like the suicide. What is it? Suicides with Squid Game. Squid Game. They would die if they lost the game. That's what's gonna happen to the 2/3. They're gonna die because they lost the game. We're enduring. We're hoping to win the game, and when we win, we're gonna get a reward when our master returns, which is endurance. Right? We're enduring to the end in this truth. What are we enduring against? That temptation. Your flesh desires more resources. Your flesh desires more. But then you got to discipline it and say, hey, fuck it. I don't have it. Oh, wow. The Lord will provide and he'll take away. And you move on, right? You don't just stay stuck in that emotion. You got prayer. You got fasting. You got the brotherhood. You got videos to reflect on. Even prayers. There's some brothers that put up prayer videos just dealing with certain topics, like if your child is sick. So we have tons of resources, and that's really what we got to do is look at what we have and not what we want. What we have is sufficient. Is there more of that up? 13?
Oh, that's it.
All right. Then if I get that Sirach 27.
I got you. You got a precept, bro? I want Yoda.
God.
What Yoda?
Yeah, I got 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 13. Being defamed, we entreat, you are made as the filth of the world, and are as the offscouring of all things unto this day. I write not these things to shame you, but as my beloved sons, I warn you.
Because what we've been looked at as just the scum of the earth, man.
Right.
You see, especially us in this truth, they're looking at us like we are just the most worthless pieces of shit to ever exist on the earth. When all we're doing is preaching righteousness. All we're doing is preaching Yahweh Shai, and that's how we're supposed to be looked at. And that's a part of that trial and tribulation that we have to go through and endure. Because it's just going to continue to get ramped up, and it's going to intensify the closer we get to the end. But at the end of the day, we're doing what's right. And we have to endure in that, man. We have to be strong in it, like the brother just read, so that no man take thy crown. No matter what they come with, we have to continue to stand firm, firmly rooted, unmovable, unshakable, unwavering in this faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man.
Right.
You see, and that's being tried as gold in the furnace of adversity,
Mm-hmm.
You got more?
That was it.
I got something right away. This is all Psalms chapter 72 and verse 11. Yeah, all the kings shall fall down before him, all nations shall serve him, for he shall deliver the needy when he crieth, the poor also, and him that hath no helper. He shall spare the poor and needy, and shall save the souls of the needy. he shall redeem their soul from deceit and violence, and precious shall their blood be in his sight.
You know.
And that's the thing, man. That's exactly what Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has promised to his elect, man, to give us that hope of salvation, man. He promised to save us, to redeem us at the last end, man. And we're waiting. We already know what Yahushai did. So now we're just waiting on Yahushua's return, man, to be redeemed. If we are part of those, man, whose names are written in the book of life of the Lamb, man.
Lushma.
Yeah, just a quick one. This is James 5:10. It says, take my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of Yahweh, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience.
Mm-hmm. Because what? We're backing a lot because the spirit of the prophets is subject to the prophets. We're backing a lot of the prophets, suffering the afflictions of the prophets. You know, for Yahweh's sake, this is a lot the prophets are supposed. We have to walk in. This is the course that the Most High set us on, man. But it's all good because at the end of the day, like you said earlier, we have a reward coming for all this stuff that we're going through. The Most High is not unrighteous to forget that work and labor of love that you have shown unto toward His name. You know,
Right.
And that's one reason why, like, not everybody can be a prophet or have that law, because the Yahweh puts the spirit on his prophets to have a spirit of endurement, you know, because these other people, because we get vexed by just about everything here. But these other people, they're not getting vexed because they don't have a spirit they would become suicidal. They would become, you know,
they ain't built like that.
they don't have that same spirit as his prophets. And
Because you gotta understand, man, the prophets are kind of in the head, man.
God,
You know, prophets are kind of off their rockers. You know, because
Yeah.
you have to be a special spirit to know that it's a possibility I can be beheaded for, you know, confessing His word, and you still doing it every day.
God.
You know what I'm saying? You out there on the highways, and we ain't got no protection out there, no carnal protection anyway. You know, we just out there confessing the name of the Lord, bro. You have to be a special type of spirit, you know, to be able to do this, man. And that's what the Most High, that's who the Most High has chosen.
Right.
You know.
And yesterday, really quick, a little bit I touched on it, how a lot of the books, they start out with a burden of Malachi, the burden of Isaiah, the burden, it's a, you know, it's a burden. It's a heavy, what you go in that word burden, it's like a heavy load to carry, you know? So this is the spirit of the prophets. We have a heavier load to carry than the rest of these people because of the, you know, Lord's will, we're those men because of the position that Yahweh has given us.
God.
Right. And that's why
I got this,
bear our cross, you know.
that too.
God.
I got this rock.
Okay. And I was gonna say, because like the prophets that are out here doing it, those man that really believe and trust in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man, they're out there doing it because they actually have the spirit. Because it is a burden, but if you have the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, this is what Matthew 11:30 says. This says, "For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." So at the end of the day, the men that are actually out here doing it, man, yeah, it's a burden. We understand we go through a lot of things, but he gives us that comfort.
He strengthens us through the Holy Spirit, man.
Yep,
Because
endurance.
we ain't just out here doing this on our own, man. It's Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai fueling us and giving us the strength to endure through every day, to go out on the highways and byways to fuel us to bring out what we bring out every time we go out there, man. You know,
Right.
we don't go out there with no script. We don't have no scriptures written down. We just send up a prayer and it starts flowing. You know.
Yep.
You know.
That's why you see these other people bug out and fall out.
Mhm.
Yep. But
There
if
you
you remember that Fight Club movie when that big heavyset guy goes to run off, the one guy, he runs after him and says, no, this is just practice, you know, pretty much like a ministering angel, you know. Hey, turn back
Yeah.
around, go back, don't give up yet, you know.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nicole.
I got a book of James, chapter 1, starting at verse 2. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations. 3, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. And 4, but let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. So if you suffer, and we're as we and receive persecution as our power did, Yahweh Shai, you build up resistance and your discipline increases every day as we're talking about in experiencing life day to day as a hopeful elect, but you are actually fighting the good fight.
Right.
Good fight of faith. That's right. I got that Sirach for you.
Go ahead, brother.
This is Ecclesiasticus, chapter 27, verse 5. The furnace proveth the potter's vessels, so the trial of man is in his reasoning.
There you go. Is in his reasoning. When you're in that tribulation, what are your reasoning? What are you doing? How are you thinking about your situation is what matters about how you're going to act. How's your behavior going to be in that situation? If some brother could give me Jeremiah 17:10, and I'll need Revelation 22:12 and Matthew 25:31. And on that Matthew 25, it'll be to 34.
I'll get Jeremiah 17:10.
Okay.
You got 12 and Revelation 22.
All right.
You want that now?
Yeah.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, verse 10. I, the Lord Yahweh, search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doing.
There you go. So the Lord allowing you to come into these troubles, and he knows what we're going to do, but he's allowing it to play out. And he searches your mind to see how you're going to play it out. See how you're going to deal with it, how you're going to deal with your emotions, what your behavior going to be. Because remember, there's a reward. Just like if you had children and you would watch your child how it would conduct itself, and then you would reward it or discipline it according to its actions or words. Well, that's what the Lord's doing to us. He's guiding us with correction and discipline so that we can act a certain way because we have the way of Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai is the way. See? So go ahead, brother, on that Revelation 22.
Revelation 22 and 12, it says, And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be.
There you go. So that we got to understand that the Lord's watching us every time we have a problem. That's why we got to go back to the scripture. How should I deal with this problem? Right? And if you don't have a clear understanding, that's why you have a leadership where you're able to ask the leadership, hey, what should I do in this situation? Right? But we're wise men now. We're wise men, which the wisdom is wise judgment. How should I conduct myself? What should my actions be? Right? Like you got men that win lotto, which there's actual men that in the truth won the lotto or a certain group of money, and they left the truth because they lacked wisdom. You know, men went out their wits over women. I was just watching that Scorpion King last night before you know, when I came home to eat dinner, and they were going out their wits over a woman. They were killing each other over this woman.
I was just saying that shit. I was just watching Casino earlier with Robert De Niro, and this nigga gave this bitch Ginger the fucking key to the safe box. And then after this bitch then told him she don't really see him like that, she didn't really want to be in that type of relationship with him like that. He still married this bitch and just gave this bitch everything she could want. Like, nigga, what are you going out of your whip for women? Because what? They don't have that fucking wisdom, man. Not fucking wisdom, but they don't have wisdom, you know?
Right.
I had to turn that shit off, man. That shit pissed me off. What the fuck are you doing, man?
Right.
I gave her the only key to the safe box. Nigga, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, it shows you that really the only strong men in this world, in this society, are the men of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You start like what the brother's saying, examples like that, they're all weak men. On the outside, they might personify as they got this strength and manliness. But on the inside, these people are weak as hell, man.
I couldn't even finish that shit, bro. That shit pissed me off, so I had to turn the fucking game.
And that's the spirit the Lord's putting us in. He's giving us that endurance, which means hard, to be made hard. That's what it is, because we got this the burden, the chastisement. So we become these, we're becoming perfect in this truth. And it's giving us that strength to be men, to be strong men, not just.
And we're going to be terrible, really, by definition, terrible. Because, now you may be with a woman that you may say, hey, this bitch is beneath me. But in that time, the Lord's going to give us such a confidence that it's not gonna be a thing. You know, even like now, you know, you still worry about a check or even money. There's gonna be a time where we don't worry about that shit no more.
God.
You know what I mean? And so we're gonna actually abound. When Jacob's trouble happens, we're gonna go even higher in wisdom, higher in faith, higher in our works.
Increasing our value.
Yeah.
Then that's going to fulfill the prophecy of what? I shall make a man more precious than the golden wedge of Ophir.
Right.
We're gonna be the most valuable commodity on the planet when it all breaks loose, man.
And we already have flashes of it. You know what I mean?
I'm on your. That's good.
Yeah, I got one. This is going into like, enduring affliction and still, getting the job done.
Sure.
Isaiah 62 and verse 6 says, I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day nor night. Ye that make mention of the Lord Yahweh, Bashmi Shai, keep not silence.
That's what the men of the Lord are doing. Through whatever we go through, man, we still, the Most High still gives us a spirit to continue to push forth His word. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. You know, and the little trials and tribulations we go through, man, there's obstacles that we have to overcome to get stronger, to get to have our faith built, to build that trust in Yahweh Shemel Shah. So when it really goes down, we can look back at all the experiences that the Most High took us through and fall back on those things, man. You know?
Right.
And then, like the brother, another part of what he just read says, the Lord says, I have set up watchmen, meaning this ain't something that we didn't set this camp up. Our camp was set up by the Lord, Yahweh, put this together. All the camps, it's not of us. This is of something greater than us. You see?
Right.
You got one? No.
Huh?
That was it.
Yeah, you got one more. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 94, and verse 16. Who will rise up for me against the evildoers, or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity? And the prophets, man, they have, like you said, they have a special spirit in them that won't allow them to keep silence. You know what I'm saying? No matter what's going on in their lives, the true men of the Lord, they're going to speak the words of Yahweh Shemel Shah, condemn this place.
Just like Jeremiah was like, man, fuck this shit. I ain't speaking no more in the name of the Lord. I ain't speaking His words no more. I ain't calling His name no more. He's like, I couldn't stop it. It was something that was in me.
You couldn't
keep
it inside.
You couldn't contain it, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Because guess what? You can't. But if the Most High created you to be a prophet, your mouth is not going to stop until the Most High stops your mouth, man.
Yeah,
you see, His spirit is on you to push forth His word. That's what you're gonna do regardless. We can't stop this if we wanted to, man. If we be a part of that number, we are programmed. You see, we are programmed in the Most High's grand scheme of things to be the vessels that He speaks through, and we have no say so in the matter, man.
Like Jonah, he was mad. He was mad, cursed because the city wasn't destroyed. Yep. And like it was like, yeah, this is my story. You're just in it.
You're an instrument I'm using. You see, to push forth my word, man.
He made him sit there and watch a plant grow and die off.
Yeah.
And showed him, man, like you're
I'm
in control. Yeah, like
Even Job, he thought he was perfect in the law. But you know what? The Lord chooses who will have mercy on and who He won't.
Okay. I got. You have more?
Nah.
Okay. So I got James chapter 5, verse 10, and it reads, take my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience. Mm-hmm. Behold, we count them happy which endure. We have heard of the patience of Job and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercy.
Tender mercy, there you go. Which He's gentle.
You read this?
Yeah.
Slug it.
What else?
That was that Matthew 25.
They wanted to come.
Who got Matthew 25?
Just now?
The one where you go.
Verse 31. And I'll be Sirach 11, verse 4.
Matthew 25 and what?
31 to 34.
You see Barak?
Sirach.
That's powerful.
What else you got?
Come out again.
That's it?
Yeah, I got about 5 more.
So I got Matthew 25 right here.
Go ahead, brother.
It says, when the Son of Man shall come in His glory, and all the holy angels with Him, then shall He sit upon the throne of His glory. And before Him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set up the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on his left. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, come, ye blessed of my father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world.
And that's what we're waiting for. This.
Woo!
Right? We're hoping to be those sheep that were once lost, but now we are found. And when the Holy Spirit found us and brought us back into remembrance. Which I heard that elder brother in Chicago, the muscle bound brother, I don't know his name, but he was talking about the X-Men, how they have that machine where the professor is able to see all the X-Men.
Yep.
And he said that's how the Lord is. But then when he searches out certain mutants, he don't choose all of them. He only picks out a few.
The elect.
Yeah, the elect. I was like, "Damn, that's heavy," And then he was speaking about how he always had counsel.
Watch this, man.
The professor, he always had Jean and Cyclops next to him, which are like the angels that minister, either on the left hand or the right hand. Go ahead. You got that?
Yeah. Chapter 11, verse 4.
Right.
Boast not of thy clothing and raiment, and exalt not thyself in the day of honor, for the works of the Lord Yahweh are wonderful, and his works among men are hidden.
Right. Now go to chapter 3. Now that is exactly correct there, because anything that we get splendor, right? This truth is greater than anything. Say we got like a 5,000 pair of shoes, that $5,000 pair of shoes, that don't matter compared to this truth. Mm-hmm. You got the baddest bitch, right? That don't matter. You got a huge ass house, that don't matter. You got a fast whip, whatever, it don't matter. The thing that matters is this truth. Because we're going to get the end what the brother just read, where the Lord is going to give us those crowns and invite us into his kingdom to be with him forever. Nothing could actually outweigh that. And then if brother could hold 2 Corinthians 4, and I'll start at 1. Did any brother have a precept? All right.
Nope.
Sirach 3:17.
Somebody grab that 2 Corinthians.
Sirach chapter 3.
Go ahead, grab it.
Sirach chapter 3, verse 17. My son, go on with thy business in meekness, so shalt thou be beloved of him that is approved.
Right. So we go in meekness, meaning willing. We're willing to do whatever the Lord requires, whether we go poor, whether we lose our family, whatever it is. Sheep, right? Sheep, they don't really choose their own way. The shepherd does. And he guides them with that staff, whether he wants to send you to the butcher block, whether he wants to put you in a field and let you eat. That's how we are. There's no free will here. We just got to accept what is given to us and be grateful for what we have. And know that really the Lord's working it all out for good. What good could come out of this bad situation? What wisdom can I gain through this? Right? And then that second, read down to 18.
18?
Yeah.
Okay, the next one reads, the greater thou art, the more humble thyself, and thou shalt find favor before the Lord, Yahweh.
And that's what we want. We want the favor from Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. It said, the greater you become, the more humble you become. And that's what the elect are going to be. They're going to be great men that are terrible with judgment, right? Because we're going to be bringing forth the judgment, which they're going to see us as being terrible. But in reality, we're going to be humble men. We're going to be, very meek, humble, because we're going to have that power, but we're still going to be in a spirit of loving our people, loving the earth, taking care of the animals, all these things. Like even this one verse, it says that when he told Job, the Most High Yahweh, he told Job through Yahushai, have you ever seen a deer give a birth? That's a delicate thing. And that's what the Lord, Yahweh, he controls earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, which are very violent in judgment. but also he handles delicate matters like the birth of a child. And that's how we're gonna be. We're gonna be in that same way. We're gonna be terrible, but also very approachable by our people. We're not gonna right. Right now you go try to run up on Jamie Foxx, you might or Mayweather. Guess what? They're gonna have their bouncers bounce you out the way. But our people, we're gonna be as saviors, just like Yahweh Shai was to the nation. We're gonna be saviors also. Which, if one of you brothers grab that just kind of popped in my head. Obadiah, the last verse.
I got you. This is Obadiah 1:21. And Savior shall come up on Mount Zion to judge the mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be Yahweh's.
There you go. See, we're gonna be saviors also. We're not just gonna be, terrorizing the heathen and all that. We're gonna be saviors to our people.
Like just you said earlier, many Yahushais.
Yeah, many Yahushais, right. But Yahushai, when he was here, he was tender to, he was rough, but he was also tender with his, the ones that were learning from him. He loved them, Like when he fed those thousands, he said, don't send them fasting, they could faint. That's a loving, caring person to think about your future for you, Don't send them away. They're hungry. Feed them. That's like hospitality, And then the 2 Corinthians 4. And I just got one more, which will be Colossians 1, chapter 1, verse 9.
Yeah. What verse?
Verse 1 to 7.
All right. So I have 2 Corinthians chapter 4, starting verse 1. Therefore, seeing we have this ministry, as we have received mercy, we faint not, but have renounced the hidden things of dishonesty, not walking in craftiness, nor handling the word of the Most High deceitfully, but by manifestation of the truth, commending ourselves to every man's conscience in the sight of the Most High.
There you go. See, it's a manifestation of the truth. What we're doing, we're actually manifesting the truth on earth through this light that is shining through us. The power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Go ahead,
But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the power of this world have blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Hamashiach, who is the image of the Most High, should shine unto them.
Right? And that's what Esau's plan was. Really, we went in slavery because of our sin, but Esau has planned to keep the knowledge. What does it say? Our people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Us being out here is actually a mercy to our people, a mercy unto us, teaching this knowledge. Now we have knowledge, which is a mercy to learn the true name of Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai. And then is that it up?
So 4, verse 5, it says, for we preach not ourselves, but Hamashiach Yahweh Shai the Lord, and ourselves your servants for Yahweh Shai's sake. For the Most High, who commanded the light to shine out of darkness, have shined in our hearts, to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of the Most High in the face of Yahweh Shai Hamashiach. But we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of the Most High and not of us.
There you go. Once again, we're in earthly vessels. So we're going to be tempted, but we're going to overcome. If you're an elect, you're going to overcome all temptations. It don't matter if it's a fucking woman, the chip, they put you in prison, you ain't going to fucking give up the faith. You're going to endure no matter what you go through. If you're an elect, you're an elect. You ain't going to lose it. And your faith should be on Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, not on the mortal flesh or what you could do in the flesh. And then if I could get Colossians 1, verse 9.
Colossians 1:9, it says, for this cause we also, since the day we heard it, do not cease to pray for you, and to desire that ye might be filled with the knowledge of his will and all wisdom and spiritual understanding.
Right. Our desire is that they endure, right? Our brothers, we pray for our brothers every day. When you're praying for yourself, pray for your brothers. And then, brother, go down to 12, though.
Read to 12?
Yeah, read to 12.
Verse 10 says, that ye might walk worthy of the Lord unto all pleasing, being fruitful in every good work and increasing in the knowledge of the Most High, strengthened with all might according to his glorious power, unto all patience and long suffering with joyfulness, giving thanks unto the Father, which have made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in light.
There you go. See, it's all the will of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. We just gotta endure. Just like a bride to her husband, the husband makes the choices, but the bride has to go for the ride. But at the end of the day, hey, we're gonna have a great reward for what we suffer, because the Lord is taking care of us with tender mercies. You know, and right now it looks like real bad, like, oh man, can't get any worse. But in fact, the Lord has protected us from things that would destroy us. You see? So
Let me get these, let me get these next two.
but
Verse 13 says, who have delivered us from the power of darkness and have translated us into the kingdom of his son, his dear son, in whom we have redemption through his blood, even the forgiveness of sins.
there you go. The forgiveness of sin is through Yahweh Shai. Right? And when you go into the word blood, it actually means his sacrifice, but also because we're related to him. Because he didn't die for everybody. He only died for the Israelites. And we didn't get to choose to be an Israelite. That was a great mercy on Yahweh Bashem Shai, that he gave us that the right to be an Israelite. So we have much to be thankful for. We just got to look at what we have and not what we want. We got to stay focused on what we have, because his grace is sufficient. That's the main point. His grace is sufficient to get us into the end. But if any of you brothers got precepts, that's all I had in Seps.
I'll close this up, so then we'll wrap it up. You got it.
All right, this is 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 16. For which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day.
That's what's happening, man. Our spirits are being renewed every day. You see, we're longing for the kingdom more and more and more, man. We're longing for righteousness more and more and more each and every day. You know, that's how it's supposed to be.
Right.
Yes, more.
That was it.
What you got enough?
I got Sirach 6, 18 through 20, and I'm going to read out of the Good News translation. It says, my child, learn to value wisdom while you are young, and you will still be able to find her when you grow old. Work as hard to find wisdom as a farmer works to plow and plant his fields. Then you can expect a good harvest. You will have to work at it for a while, but you will soon be enjoying what you have earned. Undisciplined people.
The fruits of your labor. If you have a garden, like right now, we have a garden, and the fruits come unexpectedly. Really, you put it out there. Just actually today, my wife brought me a sweet tomato, one of those cherubs. You know, the ones that are, the ones that come in the cherub containers, bro, sweet. And that's how it's gonna be. Just, you know, as we endure, eventually Yahweh is gonna come back, and the reward is gonna be sweet. Go ahead, Ak.
So verse 20, undisciplined people find wisdom's demands too hard and don't have enough determination to meet them. Her requirements are a burden heavier than they are willing to bear, and they quickly lay them aside.
And that's why they fall out. It's not the Lord that threw them out, it was their flesh that took them out. It's too much to go out there every weekend. It's too much to do these videos. It's too much to suffer correction. It's too hard. But us that endure, we're going to have that reward of eternal life. That's going to be the fruit of our lips. That's salvation that we've been talking about.
But like at the end of the day, it is Yahweh that threw them out, though.
Yeah.
You know, because they were never ordained to do it.
God, that's all. You're gonna wrap it up, bro.
Don, you got one? You go.
Yeah, I got one. This is Colossians chapter 1, verse 12, giving thanks to the Father who has qualified you to share in the inheritance of the saints in light.
Right. But that came out twice, I believe.
Oh,
So that's good. That's good. That's what it's saying. We're gonna get that reward if we endure. That's what, remember that. And hey, with that though, we want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh.
Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Ba'akadash.
Double honors to our apostle elders, which rule Great Millstone well. And
Right.
shalom to the elect. Wa abba.
Wow, wow, wow. I want to elect.